Hey everybody, welcome back to the Chris Claremont X-Men Comic Club. With me as always is the co-host John Coates. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing terrific. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Today we're going to talk about issue 105 of the all new, all different X-Men. And we're going to, as we can see on the cover, we're going to get a little Phoenix action in this one.
Oh, yes, we are. And this cover is great. We get one of these great shots where you think everybody is dead.
Yes.
Love that. I love
and
that.
And I love the depth too. Yeah, the depth of it with them everybody up close on that, and then Firelord pushed in the back there and framed by some sort of rubble all the way around. It's a fantastic cover.
Yeah, and Phoenix looks great on this too.
Yeah, she really does.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Phoenix alone against the most fearsome foe of all. Oh my gosh. Pretty powerful foe, I have to say.
Yeah, he's like the Silver Surfer, but with fire.
Yeah, so that's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of mercury, liquid metal, you get. So bang, we're going right in. Phoenix unleashed.
Yes, sir. And Claremont, Dave Cockrum, Bob Layton on inks this issue.
Bob Layton on inks.
Yeah, instead of Sam Granger. And we get Tom Ors, which is Tom Orzakowski, doing lettering.
Yep.
For, I believe it's the first time on X-Men.
Okay, so this is the big issue.
Yeah. And if you thought last issue started the action fast, well, they can't even wait to start on page 2 this time. We're going to get it on page 1.
Boom.
Right off the bat, the X-Men have arrived back in New York because they're coming back to save the professor, and Eric the Red is just standing around in the hangar where they apparently landed.
Yeah, he's just waiting for him.
Yeah. Here at our headquarters, get him, X-Men. And Cyclops starts blasting, and here they come. And they are pissed because he's been screwing with them and sending people to attack them for months.
Boom. You'll recognize this layout from the previous issue. Almost exactly the same configuration of two-page spread with this sort of triangular large panel at the bottom shaped like a house and a series of panels on top. It's a little bit different because the last issue, the point of the top of the house, let's call it, landed in the right hand page. In this one, we just have this the top panels. We just have this moody Firelord image, so it can all be symmetrical here. So he did move it over, but yeah, some major action happening on the top, and then a wild sort of splash spread at the bottom.
Yeah, great action spread. Colossus just slugging Eric the Red, Cyclops blasting him, and like they're just taking him down. He's like not even doing anything, and he's saying, "I come in peace. Stop."
Yeah, as we know that he does not come in peace.
Yeah, and then Wolverine gets blasted from behind by the Firelord.
Yeah.
Former Herald of Galactus, whose power is unto that of a raging sun.
Damn.
Raging. Wow.
Yeah. It's wild to have that that design element of Firelord's face in the middle of the panels before he's introduced. But I guess because it's a spread and, we're losing the flip And we can see as we are just looking at the page that he's coming anyway. It does add to this mood of foreboding.
Yeah, and he's just kind of like he's watching the action happen before he jumps in.
Right.
And he's coming in to say you're not going to attack Eric the Red anymore.
Right.
You know, and
we don't know why he's on Eric's side, but
yeah. And I like this kind of color, this like the red to orange to yellow combination, you know?
Yeah.
Like those colors don't get used that often together, but I kind of like when they do. It's just, it's so different than the usual bold colors.
Yeah. You know, it works really well, especially when the character is, you know, made of fire.
Yeah. And so Firelord, of course, just like starts taking them apart, and he just one blast takes out Cyclops and Colossus, and Nightcrawler is just like, holy crap, mein Gott.
Yeah.
And thinking like, oh, like maybe I can distract him. And he, you know, jumps over him and kicks him in the back. And Firelord is like, fool, your acrobatics mean nothing to one born to course the winds of interstellar space. Very, very Silver Surfer in his dialogue there. So Nightcrawler gets whacked out of the way, and Banshee and Storm are coming in, and they're going to do absolutely nothing because then Firelord's got these eye beams, and he just sort of smokes them, and everybody's unconscious, and the battle's over.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Just like that.
And so now he comes over to Eric, and Eric's all like, oh, did you have to treat the X-Men so harshly? And he's like, they needed to be taught a lesson. And
so we know something's going on because of Eric's beating the drum that he's going to destroy them, you know, from the get-go, and now he sort of feels like meek and standoffish.
Yeah, and so you're wondering like, well, what's going on? And now we get our little flashback to tell us what's going on after we've started with the action, you know? It's like the James Bond opening.
Yeah.
And you know, he was coming back to kill the professor. And Firestorm showed up. Havoc and Polaris like attacked him like idiots, and you know, so he took them out.
Now, I think that he made Havoc and Polaris attack him. Is that right? Is that how you feel about this? So that Firelord could witness this?
Yeah. And you can see like Eric's like laying on the ground here and has probably told him like, attack this guy. So it's like the first part of his plan is basically convincing Firelord that the X-Men want to rule Earth, and they're trying to kill Eric the Red, who was trying to stop them. Like Eric the Red's a good guy.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the first part of like getting him to believe that, but he doesn't 100% believe it right away.
Right. Because he's been to Earth before, and he knows Earthlings are manipulative, which I think is super interesting, because it seems like Eric the Red, issues before, planned this whole thing out. Even though Firelord showing up was random, he had these two there as pawns in order to sort of just make it seem like they're attacking him so that he could use Firelord in his scheme.
Right.
Yeah. Very interesting. It's a long thought out scheme.
Yeah, it was totally just by coincidence that the Firelord was coming by, and so he's like, yes, I can use this guy. And so now he's telling Firelord is like, well, I'm not going to let these X-Men kill you and take over this planet. I'm going to kill Xavier.
Right.
Yeah. And now we flip to a little scene shift with our little ship's log, Imperial date. We have followed Princess Lilandra Naramani across the face of the known and unknown universe. And we caught up with her. Yeah. So that's the first. So here's our first name drop of Lilandra.
Yes. So this whole page could be snipped right out of a Star Trek comic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it's so Star Trek. I mean, your
even her posture in that seat,
yeah. And they're like status report, science officer. Like that's the Star Trek thing, right?
Yeah. That panel in particular is beautiful, and I love that. I love the face of the guy in the foreground there too. I found the original art of this on Heritage Auctions, and it is something to look at. It's a beautiful piece.
Nice. Yeah, and so we remember, like, so this is 1977.
Yes.
And when the spaceships and the Shi'ar start showing up in issue 97, that's 76. So that's pre-Star Wars.
Sure. Yeah. Pre-Star Wars.
Yeah. So these creators, I mean, their big touchstone for science fiction, Cockrum and stuff, is Star Trek, the original series. Yeah. And so that's kind of what they're working with. And so we get these guys, and they kind of name dropped that, like, okay, Princess Lilandra used to be like an admiral in the fleet, so she's got like some military knowledge and stuff, but now we're hunting, we were serving for her, but now we're hunting her down because her emperor, or her brother, who's the emperor, wants her destroyed.
Right.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, there she is. Now we can attack her. And they start to scan to find out this weird planet that they're above. Like, what's its deal?
Yeah.
And they say, okay, well, multiple instances of Kree, Skrull, Badoon, even celestial activity, but nothing for us to worry about. But then they freak out and go, wait a minute. This planet has faced Galactus 4 times and beaten him back every time.
Yeah. I love that. He freaks out about it.
Yeah. What a great, like, connection to the rest of the Marvel U.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the captain of that ship, he freaks out and he's like, all right, turn around, hard about.
Yeah. They're scared of Earth. Yeah.
Yeah.
That if this primitive world has indeed fought off Galactus, gods below, their power may rival that of the Empire itself.
Yeah. Awesome.
Love it.
But they do shoot off one torpedo.
Mm-hmm.
And here comes our Lilandra in our awesome bug space suit. And she gets in a little teleporter, Star Trek teleporter, and zing, is out of there just as her ship blows up.
Yeah. I love this I love this page where she's teleporting and the use of the screen tones to fill in her body there.
Yeah, really cool use right there. Mm-hmm. I like it. And so, of course, you go from the explosion and we cut back to Jean Grey's apartment. And like, man, that's an apartment. Woo!
Yeah, it is. In New York Village. Yeah, what are they paying for rent there?
Yeah, man, Misty Knight's like PI money must be huge.
So we are talking 1977. So
yeah, so maybe the prices were reasonable.
Sure.
Yeah, and we get her parents sitting here and the professor, and a little description of like, oh, they just talked over coffee how it'd be great if they were both looking for a roommate. So let's just be roommates.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, terrific. And right here we go in the corner. Here's our screen tone teleportation ring.
Yep.
Skazak. showing up, and they even mention it. Misty Knight's like, Jean, it looks like that Star Trek transporter effect.
I know. I thought that was great.
Yeah. They're like, yeah, we're going to own it. We love this show, and there you go. And the professor is, you know, he's terrified because it's like, okay, this is my nightmare I keep having, but now it's for real.
Right.
And helmet comes off, and there we go. Our first good look at Princess Lilandra.
I love the...
So is that who you thought this was, Chris?
I mean, I kind of figured that that's who it was.
Issues ago?
Well, when we first saw it, I was not sure because that bug spacesuit is such a rad design.
Yeah.
You know, you really couldn't tell who it was under that. And, you know, if you look at it, it looks like a masculine body. As we went further along and you were start to be able to tell that the person under there was female, I was starting to connect the dots. But yeah, really cool. Also really cool use of the language here. He shouts her, the professor in that final panel shouts her name, which I think is interesting.
Yeah.
So I guess he's been sort of, I mean, he's terrified because it's his nightmare, but has he been communicating with her? How does he know her name?
He hasn't been communicating with her. It's like a weird just mind link that he has that it's kind of like the way that like they end up like falling in love with each other like super fast through this like psychic connection that makes everything just super strong right away. So it's like he's already having these like psychic connections to her.
Right.
Even though he's not 100% aware of what it is that's going on.
Sure.
And he just like knows her name through that.
Got it.
So it's like the first hint of like him not like he's not going to be afraid of this person, and there's going to be a different kind of relationship coming.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and they get the space suit off her, and you can kind of see her like weird clothes designs. She's got these weird like looks like feathers coming off her forearms. And Jean asked the same thing you just asked, Chris. Like, well, she's beautiful, but like, who is she? You seem to know who she is, Professor. And the professor's like, well, we've never met before, and yet. And then the wall blows up.
Yep. No time to ponder.
Yeah. No time for romance. No time for love, Dr. Jones.
Nope.
And here comes Firelord. And I love how fast
Misty's got a revolver. So
yeah, like she's on that fast.
Oh
like,
yeah,
was she just carrying that while they're having coffee with Jean's parents? She's like,
she's always carrying, concealing.
she's ready for business.
Yeah.
And I love right away you get to see Jean. She's like, she gets angry.
Look at that face.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Full on cockroom right there.
Yep. And then just blam, Kirby effects here, and she's in costume. And I love the way he treats like sort of like the boots and the sleeves. He does like some different the way he draws on them to give you that metallic look. So it always looks like those bits of the costume should be like gold shining metallic.
Yep. Yeah, there's a metallic glare to him. Yep.
Yeah. And she knocks Firestorm or Firelord.
Sorry. Careful there.
My brother is always telling me how great Firestorm is, and I should read Firestorm comics. out of the DC universe, and I'm always like, maybe not.
I liked him better in the Marvel universe when he was Firelord.
Yeah. I like the Marvel version better. So now here we go. And the Firelord mentions that, like, the only person on this world that has hit him that hard was Thor.
Yeah.
So you know that Phoenix has got some power.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And she comes out here, and he lets her know, like, the X-Men and the Professor are going to lead a conquering horde, and I'm going to stop them. And she's like, pal, you have flipped your lid. You're crazy. That's never going to happen.
Right.
And then she just rocks this dude.
Throttles him.
Yeah. All the way over to Washington Square Park. And we get an amazing cameo here.
Yeah, we do.
Some little guys sitting down here in the park. One's got a little drawing tablet. Anyway, Dave, he hits the ground with this incredible sound effect. Boom.
Boom.
And here's,
I love it.
So this is, of course, as we'll turn the page and see, Dave Cockrum and Chris Claremont making an appearance.
Yeah, I love these real life cameos.
Yeah, I wonder. It's a weird. I wonder when the last time they ever did that in a Marvel book was. You know, because you get Stan and Jack a few times, and we get Cockrum and Claremont here, and I think Byrne makes some appearances, but later than that, I don't know. I don't know if any later, artists and writers ever drop themselves into stories too much.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish that they would more.
Yeah, like Alan Moore in Swamp Thing.
That would have been awesome. I mean,
would have been great.
I mean, Grant Morrison does it,
right?
But,
yeah. But, something to ponder. If anybody knows of some other good cameos,
pop it in the
Marvel creator, like, is Ditko ever in a Marvel book? Anything like that, or later guys, like, leave a comment for us so we can go bin diving. And Claremont's trying to tell him more story. Dave, aren't you listening? And Dave Cockrum's like, Chris, do us all a favor, shut up and run.
Chris basically told himself to shut up through a Dave Cockrum avatar.
Yeah, how great is that?
I love it. It's so funny.
Yeah. And so now we get back to Eric the Red, who sees sort of the battle going on between Jean and the Firelord, and thinks like, oh, well, now is finally my chance to go kill Xavier.
Yeah.
And to stop the princess. And then, Jean's parents are watching out the hole in the wall, being like, what, is that our daughter? And Lilandra here is woken up, and she's starting to speak English because the professor is like giving her like a telepathic language crash course.
Yes.
Which is a great effect.
So, yeah, I love this. So, yeah. She wakes up and she can't quite get it yet. She says, Xavier have sought you. I so long desperate need gods. And he says, be calm, Lilandra. Even a telepathic language course takes some time. And then you got in the next panel, you've got the narration saying, sorry, Professor, but time's just run out. And I love that. I love those little narration things that Claremont puts in there. And it always feels to me like the narration from like Dukes of Hazzard. Like, where they'll come in and be like, them boys are up to no good now, you know, like
yeah.
Cracks me up. I just love it.
Yeah, it's just like a nice little element of fun.
Yeah, there's a lightness to it, you know. I don't know if it's not like laugh out loud humor, and I'm sure it wasn't supposed to be, but it does add this air to it that's just like, it's fun. It's just fun.
Yeah, it makes you smile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Misty, she's still got that revolver. She's ready. And she's like, move and I'll fire. And the professor's like, Eric the Red, but Lilandra actually knows his real name, Shikari.
Yes.
And he's like, I, Princess Shikari, who you exiled to Earth. And now at your brother's imperial command, I have come to take you home to die.
Bing, bing, bing. Look at that blast.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is all great because, like, we finally get some kind of resolution as to what Eric the Red's deal is and who he is, and what's going on. You know, because he's just been this shadow guy. He keeps popping in and out, and we haven't been given like anything. And now it's all coming together, and it's like really interesting too.
Well, why is he dressed like somebody who Cyclops dressed up as on a whim to... Do we get an answer for that?
We don't get an answer for that. He must have just found the armor after Cyclops ditched it.
Okay.
You know, and he's just like, here's a costume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And but he blasts them and kind of knocks them out. And then finally, some of the other X-Men are starting to arrive in this awesome, like, Fantastic Four kind of car.
Yeah, what is that? Where did they even get that?
I'm assuming they borrowed it from the Fantastic Four, I guess.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Made a call real quick.
Yeah, we need to borrow your hover plane, guys. And you can see on the roof here, Eric the Red is kind of building a device. And they tell you he's constructing a Stargate.
Yes.
Great movie, Stargate.
Yeah, and I'm sure that they got that name from this run, unless it was used in some science fiction story before that I don't know about. But
I'll have to check the credits closely. Maybe it mentioned in there, thanks, X-Men 105.
Yeah, highly likely. And I love how it mentions that a fast 10 minutes work to construct the Stargate. Like, this is like less complex than a Lego set.
Yeah. It takes you a lot longer than 10 minutes to do some Legos. And this guy's building a Stargate.
I love it. You've got to move this story along, you know?
Yeah. The X-Men show up. He's like, you pitiful barbarians. You're too late. And he blasts the hovercraft. And then, you know, like the engines are clearly exploding. And then Wolverine takes that moment to get a jab at Cyclops. What's the matter, leader man? This more than you can handle?
Yeah.
Get off my back, Wolverine.
They're just like, they just like two brothers. It's great. You know, every single vehicle that they have been in since this run began has exploded.
Yeah.
Don't get in a car with these guys, or a jet, or a plane, or anything, or a hovercraft.
Yeah. Yeah. If they offer you a lift, say, I got my own ride, and meet them there.
Man.
Yeah.
Rough going.
Yeah, their transportation budget must be massive.
The only one I can think of that didn't explode is when they commandeered that limo to take that Jean to the hospital, when they could have all just used their powers to fly there.
Right.
That one did not explode.
Yeah.
Just a funny observation.
That's so good. And
I love this this shot of Cyclops here with the windshield in front of him, and how he either he must have used some sort of white media or something, maybe, I don't know, to draw the reflection over the top of him. It's a great little addition there.
Yeah, it would be so easy to just draw him, and nobody would question that you aren't seeing a windshield or anything.
Right.
You know, you'd never pause and be like, "Whoa, shouldn't I see a windshield?" Like, no. But he's going to take the time, and he's like to give you the effects of the windshield, and yeah, and it makes it a more interesting panel, because we've seen lots of upshots of yelling Cyclopses, and it always looks good, but he's like, let me do something different.
Yeah, and then again in this explosion too, where it sort of tapers off there, I believe that he's using the technique, and you'll see on the next page too, there's an explosion where it uses the same thing. But I think that's that technique where you take a razor blade and you kind of go brrr with it, with the edge of it across the paper, and it just sort of takes the paper off and the ink. See that second panel there? It's,
like right here? Like
yeah, yep.
Right.
To sort of give it this like stipply kind of effect to break the line up.
Yeah. And so now we cut back to see what's going on with the Jean and Firelord fight. And we get her with like the great flaming bird around her, which is a great visual.
First time we see that, I think.
Oh man, do we see it when she pops out of the water in the Phoenix costume for the
very
first time?
We might.
We might. But this would be
going. I'll take a look here. I think I have it right.
Yeah, this would be the next time we see it, if we see it before then. And she mentions, "Death doesn't frighten me, Harold. You see, my friend, I've been there." So this is like another moment here in another issue where Jean has this like these dark thoughts that she maybe died and resurrected herself as the Phoenix. And like every time like she mentions that, like it's like she goes to this dark place, and it's like a whole new personality of her.
Yeah, she's like
her personality.
She's like getting like a dopamine injection from this power.
Yeah. And you know, we saw how easy Firelord whipped the rest of the team, but like he can't handle Phoenix. Like she just chucks him over to like New Jersey.
Yep. Yeah, to New Jersey, exactly.
Yeah. And then she wants to go finish him off. Like she wants to go kill him. But she has to stop because she hears that the professor is in trouble and she's got to get back.
No Phoenix.
Okay, so yeah, so this is the first time we see like the bird, flaming bird around her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is such a great, you know, that's why it's like using the name Phoenix was like such a great code name, and the idea, you know, phoenixes die and are reborn, and so that's how she gets the code name and gets powered up, because maybe she died and came back, and then you can get this great flaming bird visual. Like the idea to do that is just so genius.
Yeah, it really is.
And yeah, so now here's the rest of the team with our 2 flyers carrying everybody, trying to get there. And this is a great, like a little moment that gets dropped into all this action. Wolverine, they're like asking about Nightcrawler, and Wolverine's like, he probably bamfed himself over, you know, using bamf as, you know, in reference to his teleporting. But now we get to see, he's not. He's like, has to climb the hard way. And we get the explanation for Nightcrawler teleporting, that he has to see where he's going before he teleports.
Right. This is my favorite.
That wasn't in the early issues. Remember, like he teleported inside the Armageddon base just blind. And there was no way he could see that. And now they like, you know, they thought it through and they're like, oh, wait, he needs to be able to know where he's going.
Which is why they you know, the extra page in the classic was pretty great, because they kind of explained that in there.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
This is a really great sort of use of that that time lapse sort of, you know, illustration, where he's, you know, you see him through time as he's flipping through there, and they've used it a couple times in the past, but this is my favorite one yet.
Yeah, it's like the setup, it's just laid out so well. It's so easy to follow his motion as he's like going up the sides of these buildings here. I love that. I love that effect, and you just don't see it in comics right now.
Yeah,
for some reason, you know.
No.
Well, I wish you did.
Yeah, I mean, there's been times that I know that I've gotten a moment in a script that could have been totally useful to do something like that, and just time permitting and sheer, you know, at times exhaustion and laziness has made me go, I'm not going to do it this time.
yeah, it takes a little more effort and a little more thought to like lay that out correct.
You can draw them one time and show some like bouncing lines, or you can draw them 6 times like he did here, and also show some bouncing lines. You know, you pick.
Yeah, it's like a team shot, but it's all one guy.
Yeah, I love it.
So Nightcrawler, even with all that, he gets to the roof first, and Eric the Red has the unconscious Lilandra, and he jumps through the portal. And Nightcrawler's like, I'm going to get him. And it turns off immediately, and of course, and Nightcrawler just sort of like lands on his head.
Yep.
The Stargate has been turned off.
They missed him.
Yeah. And the professor down here, curse you, Eric.
Yeah, he's pissed.
Curse you. And what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Here we go. So Jean has returned to the roof with the other X-Men, and her parents are there, and they're kind of freaking out.
Yes, they are.
And she's just like, hey, there's no time to explain this. And
Xavier,
the professor is wigging out.
A dick.
Yeah. Every time he gets stressed,
man,
like he just becomes a dick.
Yeah.
Are you blind, Gene? There's plenty of time now. He shut off the Stargate, and we're helpless to save Lilandra.
I love
Gene here.
She turns,
so
she
calm.
puts him in his place.
Yeah, so calm and collected. Just calm down, Professor. Things aren't that bad.
Yep.
And like just like nothing, she's got so much power now that she can just like turn the Stargate back on with her own energy.
Yeah. Even to the point where Scott is commenting on that, like, what in the world? Jean used to be the weakest X-Man. Oh. Now, come on. Was she really the weakest X-Man?
Yeah. And that's on a team with Angel.
I know.
and she was weaker than that guy.
Yeah.
Or the snow guy, Iceman.
Yeah. You're forgetting some guys.
Yeah.
Because she's a girl.
Yeah. And she fills us in here like, well, you told me telepathically.
Yeah.
Lilandra led a revolt to stop her brother from doing something that she thinks will destroy the entire universe. And Eric the Red was basically a secret agent on Earth that was assigned to prevent Lilandra from reaching the X-Men by killing the X-Men. So now it's like, oh, okay, well now we understand the full backstory of this space saga that is starting to play out here. And yeah, and she just like powers up. We get the bird effect again, and Phoenix has enough raw power to get us through the gate, to turn the Stargate back on. And I love this panel on the bottom here where they're thinking about like, Professor, this sounds like a big risk. Do we really have to do this? And like Colossus is in the back. He's not even paying attention to the conversation. He's just like looking at the Stargate.
Yeah.
You know,
like,
just
what the hell am I getting into?
Yeah, he's like, this is not a farming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is Xavier on the floor all of a sudden? What did I miss?
I think he just got, he got blasted out of his wheelchair and was just taken up there by Eric the Red and just dropped.
I see. Oh, okay. That's right. Yeah,
Right?
He dragged him up there. I forgot that he got dragged up there. Okay. One more question.
Mm-hmm.
In the very last panel of the last issue, Eric the Red was peering in on them at the apartment, and he had Havoc and Polaris with him. Where are they? Do we have a continuity issue, or maybe they're going to pop in again here soon?
They are presumably just unconscious somewhere, because Firelord at the beginning zaps them as part of the plot to get them to attack the X-Men.
Right, but Eric the Red looking in on the window of them at the apartment with Jean's family and Misty and everybody, and they were with him then, and that happened before that.
Yeah. So he must have used, they were like spying to see where they were at, and then left the apartment and went to wherever the X-Men were going to be arriving or something like that. Oh,
right. Yeah.
Or something. Okay. Yeah. Or maybe they were spying on Jean and the Professor, and that's when they saw the Firelord fire guy come by or something.
Interesting. Okay.
But yeah, that's a good question. They're totally not around.
Yeah.
And presumably they're not brainwashed anymore.
All right, so everybody leaps through the Stargate.
Yeah. And Jean's parents are flipping out like, explain, Xavier, what you're doing with our daughter. And he's saying, I think I have sent her and my X-Men as well, Mr. Gray, to their deaths.
That's something to reassure someone's parents.
Maybe tone that down, Professor.
Yeah, wow, you really are a dick.
A little bit of optimism there, guy.
I love the sound effect of them having gone through the Stargate here in the middle panel. Poot.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Poot. It's like so tiny, it's just like whoop.
Yeah. I found this page too on Heritage Auctions. It's pretty great because that little poot area is now turned brown. So,
from the screen tone?
Yeah, and and she even says, I hate to butt in highlighted butt, and now it's turned brown and it's poot, it all just makes sense.
Yeah. And then of course the Firelord shows back up ready for round 2 with Phoenix. And they're just like, well, do whatever you want, dude, but she left.
Yeah.
And if the X-Men fail tomorrow, the universe will die.
Holy shit.
That is a cliffhanger for you.
Talk about stakes.
It's gonna die. So this is a great great Phoenix issue.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's really the first time we get to see her in action, you know?
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And I love the hints at like Jean, this darker side that Jean has. Like you start to get the hints of like, well, she's got, what's the trade-off of her having all this power now is like when she starts using it, it's like corrupting her a little bit. Like she's got this dark side.
Yeah, it's like the first hit is free. You know, she's like, she's tasted the drug of this power now, and we'll see where it goes. This is the classic X-Men cover. Get my notes out of the way here.
Yeah, great. That's a great cover.
It's pretty great. Yep. Inked by Al Williamson, as you can see here. Al Williamson is one of the greatest inkers of all time. I don't know if I love him inking art, though. It kind of diminishes some things on it. And then you got her here showing up with the bug suit. And you'll see right off the bat that the opening is completely different from yours. We sort of get a little bit more of a prologue here
before the battle, huh?
Yeah, and it just talks about them flying away, as you know, sort of telling you what happened in the issue before, and it's them flying away while she is coming to Earth.
That is like, something that you don't get in like the issue 105. Like there is no recap at all.
Yeah.
And barely in issue 104, but like this one for sure, like they're not recapping anything. Like they're just going right from the beginning. And
yeah. It hits the ground running, you know? And so like, you kind of ease into here. I like this line that she says, I'm as mad as my brother to chase some psychic will-o'-the-wisp across the galaxy. So you know now that she just like saw this blip of something, you know, she wasn't even quite sure what it was, but it felt powerful. And so she's going to go and find it. This is, by the way, let's see here. Bob Layton, as we know, inked this issue, but these fill-in pages are penciled and drawn by Layton.
Okay. Layton joints.
Yeah. Yep. And you just get sort of more of, you know, Charles feeling her being very close, you know, and Jean, you know, helping him up the stairs with her powers, and you just feel that her powers are growing. And you know, Eric the Red talking about stopping Princess Lilandra again, and I think that's the only. Oh, this is an extra page here. So we get in the middle of the fight here. We get to see a little bit more of his powers, you know, building up. You get a fastball special here where Layton doesn't even draw the legs.
Yes, awesome.
And again, he's talking about his my claws are forged from pure adamantium. There ain't nothing that can cut it. But you know, Firelord, you know, grabs him here and smashes him back in there. And meanwhile, you know, Eric the Red is saying, "That's it, Firelord. Slay them all. Remove once and for all Xavier's last line of defense and Lilandra's last hope for salvation." So it just sort of clarifies that, you know, he's been manipulating this. In case you missed it, you know, kind of drives it home. And then the backup story here that we always get from John Bolton. His name is a Jean story. Well, more like a Misty Knight story, because we just get a moment where they're kind of chilling on the beach here, getting to know each other, and she's laying here wondering what has become of her boyfriend, who we see here is Iron Fist. And Jean is tapping into her brain, allowing her to see where they are and putting her at ease that they just walked over to his beach house because, you know, He's got a beach house. And then there's this moment here with this character that I'm not really sure who it is. Colleen Wing.
Oh, yeah. That's her like PI partner.
Oh, it's her partner. Okay. And she's got some sort of like samurai outfit here. And she's like, she's calling herself the daughter of the dragon here and wearing this like outfit. You know, having dreams and thoughts of him and me and being torn by the two sides of these things. And then the Phoenix comes and says, well, what about me? Where do I fit in this, you know, triangle of your needs and desires? A friend, you know, who needs a friend who needs a friend. And she sort of wakes up and is like, wow, you know, I don't know you that well, but, you know, you've changed a lot since I've come to meet you already. And she's like, yeah, I've got this power and, you know, it's a lot of power and, you know, I need to, you know, keep it contained, you know, in my body. And then she hears this cry out in the ocean of a family that's in distress. And so they kind of hijack this boat. She, you know, grabs Misty with her power here, brings her onto the boat. They go out and she dives into the water because she can hear the family under the water. And Misty's like, I hate the ocean. And she sees this fin come up. She's like, oh my God, a shark. Jean's not going to know that the shark is down there. So of course I'm going to dive in to the water. And so she starts fighting this thing. And she mentions her bionic arm here where she's fights the shark off. And she kind of gets nailed by the shark here, and gets disoriented, and she's like, oh my God, I'm dead. But it gets the shark gets nailed by this dolphin and swims away, and she climbs back up, and this dolphin is here, you know, making clicking sounds. And it turns out that Jean is like, yeah, well, the family that I went to go and rescue was this dolphin family, and so they were just saying thanks by, you know, saving you. She's like, what? You know, I almost got killed for a fish family. And then you have this moment here where she's like, you know, they're mammals, as intelligent and sophisticated in their own way as we. And she's, you know, they're still not people, not worth my life. She said, that all depends on your point of view. And so it's kind of interesting, you know, this little moment they have of you know, with animals. And you know, their friendship is to become stronger because of this moment. So it's got an interesting little backstory that happened before the apartment incident.
Yeah, so, man. Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't want a room with someone who's gonna like fight sharks for you? You know?
Yeah,
like that's a trustworthy individual.
Yeah, cool bionic arm doesn't even look like it's bionic yet. But yeah, and that, our friends, is issue 105 of X-Men.
Yep, of the all new, all different X-Men, and that's sort of our setting the stage for the next little mini arc. Let's call it mini story. You know, we already had a mini Sentinel story and a little mini Juggernaut, Black Tom in Ireland story. And now we're going to go into cosmic Star Trek, Star Wars mode.
We've had demons, we've had leprechauns, we've had giant robots. You know, obviously the next thing is space. I mean, we've been to space, but just the outer atmosphere. We haven't been into intergalactic.
You can still see the Earth and fly back, but now we're going to
adventure,
Stargate with no suit or anything. They just jump through that gate, assuming they're going to come out on a world with Earth like atmosphere.
Yeah. Well, you know, if they don't, at least they got the Phoenix to probably be able to build some sort of bubble around them. So,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, John, where can everybody find you on the webs?
Oh, you can connect with me on the Instagram at jdcoates, and my comics are at dinobeast.com.
Awesome. You guys all know where you can find me. Everything will be in the show notes. Stay tuned for a speed drawing of the show's thumbnail. Those are always available for sale on my website. Until next time, when we talk about issue 106. Stay excellent, everybody.
See you then.
Later. Join my Patreon to see my work before anyone else, plus score physical sketchbooks, mini comics, and commissions delivered right to your door, and reading my new books, Something Seems Off and Three-Headed Pigman, as they are made. Go to my website to order original art, commissions, and my books, Lost Angels, Spectral: A Showcase of Fear, Chaotic Neutral, and more. Gray Matter Drip, The Art of Chris Anderson, is available now from Cosmic Lion Productions. Here are the upcoming conventions I'll be at the time of this recording. And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. It helps spread the word. Thanks.